My name is Cindy Figueroa. I've worked at this Costco since it opened in 2015. I started in the pharmacy as a pharmacy technician, and about a year and a half ago, I started on the front end as a supervisor. I love coming to work. It's the first job I've had where I don't glance at my watch all day and wait to see when it's time to go home. It's the people, it's the members. I like the hecticness. I like how crazy it gets.
Thank you. You're welcome. Have a good day.
Yeah, they have a limit on the gloves, on the toilet paper. Do you know we're selling the toilet paper that we use in the bathrooms, the Marathon brand? Donna and I met when we were working here. We both worked in pharmacy. She is fantastic. Henry never went to bed.
No.
No, he was up till 3:30 in the morning.
Cindy is great. She's like my daughter. We were talking about feminine products and things like that, and she had said that she had gotten sick and they didn't know what was wrong with her. She said that she was close to death. She was just so bad.
When I was 15, I was a sophomore in high school. I got sick one night and woke up in the middle of the night with throwing up, an awful fever. I used to get strep throat a lot in high school. So my dad took me to the pediatrician and they prescribed penicillin, which is pretty common treatment for strep throat. It should usually take a day or two to have the antibiotics start taking effect, and still wasn't feeling better. I broke out in a full body rash. Kind of looked like a sunburn inside my mouth, everything. Didn't feel like eating, everything just hurt.
Some bacteria, like Staphylococcus aureus or group A streptococci, can make proteins, and these proteins are called toxins. The toxins get put in your bloodstream and they cause the blood pressure to go down. All the systems and functions that are related to a normal function of your body collapse.
Couldn't really stand, had low blood pressure. Every time I stood up, I felt like I was gonna pass out. We went back a couple days later again to the pediatrician. My mom had to put my shoes on for me. I was just very disoriented. He brought us in, took one look at me and said, "She's very sick, you need to go to the hospital." We arrived at Children's. Pretty much immediately, there were tons of doctors. They were doing blood tests. I was coughing and I kept coughing up brown liquid, and my mom thought it was Diet Coke because she was giving me Diet Coke because it was the only thing I could keep down. And one of the doctors came over and said, "That's not Diet Coke, that's blood." When the blood test came back, I had a very high white blood cell count. They found out that my liver was shutting down, my kidneys were shutting down. I was having heart palpitations. My hands completely peeled off. That whole top layer of skin came off. I was left with no fingerprints. I had trouble opening bottles. You know, I'd have to ask people to help me with everything. They still didn't really have any idea what was wrong with me. They were in between toxic shock and Stephen Johnson's disease. The first night I got sick, it was funny. I was sitting in my bed, I sat up and I looked at my mom and I was like, "I've read all the symptoms of toxic shock. I think this is toxic shock." And she looked at me and she just said, "That's insane. No one gets that. You just have strep throat again." They had to choose between treating me for Stephen Johnson's and treating me for toxic shock. They made the decision to go with toxic shock. And thankfully they did, because that ended up being what it was. So we went up to the ICU, ended up having to give me Ativan to go to sleep. They pumped me full of whatever it is they use to treat toxic shock. In about 48 hours, I was feeling a lot better. My mom spoke to one of the doctors and said, "Thank goodness we got her in time. We had a good pediatrician. We got her to the hospital in time." And they said, "You know, you really didn't have a lot of time. You had about an hour. You had about an hour to get her to the hospital or she was going to be gone." This month we're raising money for Children's Miracle Network. Would you like to buy a balloon? Sure. It could be anywhere from $1 to $5, just a dollar amount.
Sure.
Okay, awesome. So we do fundraising in the month of May. We get everyone hyped up. We try to get the employees hyped up. We have balloons that we sell. We have 3 types of balloons, and we just try to keep each other really motivated. I think it's a big deal for our Costco because it is 20 minutes down the road.
Taking care of children is expensive. It requires expertise. All that care is expensive. It is something that requires a lot of support. Philanthropy is a critical element of that.
Keep your help open.
Copy. Okay. My manager's on a register, which means I should be on a register.
Costco is one of our top fundraisers, and so we're truly grateful to all of the employees who help support our mission. And they're not only raising dollars, but they're also helping us raise friends and share our message. It's so important to educate the public about what's available at Connecticut Children's as we go through this crisis with the coronavirus. There's a lot of misinformation. There's no discussion about the impact on children.
One way or another, you're going to need it, whether it's for your kids, your grandkids, your nieces, your nephews.
You know, Cindy's wonderful. The employees love her. The members love her. She does a great job. Her husband also works here. He's also a great employee, so it's pretty cool.
A lot of Costco is actually married to each other. My husband comes in and works in the morning. He stocks from 4 to 10, comes home, we switch off on the kids, then I come in 1:30 to 10.
2 of my grandsons have been to the children's hospital here needing care. Had to stay overnight with bad viruses, bad this, and children just need that.
I think they were very good. They diagnosed it quickly, and I was treated quickly, whereas if it had been different, I probably wouldn't be here, honestly.